Your thumb scrolls past another perfect life on your screen, and a familiar pang twists in your chest. This feeling of envy, this quiet ache of comparison, is something we all know intimately. But what if I told you this uncomfortable emotion is not a character flaw, but a powerful signal from your deepest self, a signal that Stoicism can teach you to decode? For centuries, this ancient philosophy has offered a radical path to transform jealousy from a source of pain into a profound source of presence and personal power. In this journey, we will explore 25 specific Stoic habits, practical exercises you can start today, that systematically dismantle envy and rebuild your focus on the only thing you truly control, your own mind and your experience of this very moment. By the end, you will possess a complete toolkit to stop comparing your life to others and start living it with unshakable calm and intention. What does it truly mean to be present in a world constantly showing you what you lack? That perfect life you envy is already gone. It was never permanent to begin with. The first Stoic habit to disarm jealousy is a practice so counterintuitive it feels like a secret weapon: negative visualization. The Stoics called this premeditatio malorum, which simply means the premeditation of troubles. It is not about pessimism, but about a profound and sobering form of clarity. Here is how it works. When you feel that sharp sting of envy for someone's career, their relationship, or their seemingly perfect online life, you do not chase the feeling. You turn directly into it. You close your eyes and vividly, deliberately imagine that the very thing you crave has been lost, not by you, but by the person you envy. Picture that coveted job suddenly disappearing. Visualize that admired relationship ending. See that beautiful home empty and sold. Do not do this with malice, but with the calm focus of a scientist conducting an experiment. You are testing a hypothesis, the hypothesis that this external thing is the true source of happiness. What this exercise reveals is startling. It shows you the temporary, fragile nature of all external possessions and circumstances. The person you envy is just as subject to fortune's whims as you are. Their prized possession is on loan from the universe, just like yours. By mentally removing the object of your jealousy, you strip it of its magical power. You see it for what it is, a thing that can be here today and gone tomorrow. And in that space, something else rushes in, a deep and immediate gratitude for what you already have in this present moment. Your own job, however humble, becomes a source of sustenance. Your own relationships, however imperfect, become treasures. Your own home becomes a sanctuary. You stop longing for a life that is not yours and start seeing the life that is with clear and grateful eyes. Take that glossy photo of a friend's dream vacation. See the turquoise water, the white sand, the smiling faces frozen in a perfect moment. Now, in your mind, let the scene change. The flight home is delayed for days due to a storm. The luggage filled with souvenirs is lost forever. A sudden illness cuts the trip short, leaving them confined to a hotel room instead of exploring paradise. You are not wishing this upon them. You are simply observing the full spectrum of reality that a single photograph can never capture. This exercise dissolves the illusion of a flawless, permanent state of happiness. That promotion you saw announced with a triumphant post, imagine the hidden weight it carries. The 70-hour work weeks that strain family time, the immense pressure to perform that fuels sleepless nights, the envy it stirs in colleagues that creates a lonely office environment. By mentally walking through these potential downsides, you are not practicing cynicism. You are practicing truth. You are reclaiming your mind from a curated fantasy and planting your feet firmly back in your own life. Look around you right now, the quiet comfort of your room, the simple plan you have for this evening, the small, tangible progress you made on something today. These are not lesser things. They are the real, textured, and valuable fabric of your existence, momentarily obscured by the highlight reel of another. This mental shift does not diminish others' joy, it simply puts it in its proper context, freeing you from the hollow ache of comparison. That hollow ache of comparison thrives in a world of blurred lines. It convinces you that your happiness depends on things you can never truly command: the admiration of others, their success, their loyalty. The second Stoic habit is a surgical tool that cuts through this confusion, the practice of differentiating between what is and is not within your control. The ancient Stoics called this the dichotomy of control, and it is the very bedrock of their entire philosophy. It is not a vague suggestion, but a clear and decisive line drawn in the sand of your mind. On one side of that line lie all the externals, everything that is not your own doing. This includes the possessions, achievements, and reputations of other people. Your neighbor's new car, your colleague's promotion, the number of likes on a rival's post, these are all classified as externals. They are subject to a million factors you cannot influence, from luck and chance to the whims and choices of other human beings. To invest your sense of worth and peace in these things is to build your house on a foundation of sand, constantly shifting and unreliable. Your jealousy is the storm that reveals just how unstable that foundation is. Now look to the other side of the line. Here lies your true empire, the only territory where you are the absolute sovereign. This is the realm of your own mind, your judgments, your desires, your intentions, and your actions. You may not control the promotion, but you control the effort you put into your own work. You cannot command someone's affection, but you can choose to act with kindness and integrity. You have no power over another's success, but you have complete power over your response to it. When jealousy flares, it is always a signal that you have mistakenly placed something external on your internal throne, that you are treating another person's life as if it were your own business. The practice is to catch that signal and redirect your focus. The next time you feel that familiar twist of envy, pause and conduct a simple audit. Ask yourself, is the object of my desire that person's car, their vacation, their social popularity? Is it truly within my control? The answer will always be a clear and sobering no. Then ask, what is within my control right now? Your judgment about that car, whether you see it as a necessity for happiness or simply a vehicle. Your desire, whether you channel it into constructive ambition or let it fester into resentment. Your next action, whether you scroll away in a huff or close the app and take one small step toward a personal goal you have been neglecting. This is not a passive resignation. It is the most active and empowering shift you can make. You are moving from being a passenger, bitterly watching others drive, to taking the wheel of your own life. You stop asking, why do they have that, and start asking, what can I build with the materials I already possess? Your energy, once wasted on the futile task of controlling the uncontrollable, is now freed up for the only project that matters, crafting a life of character and purpose from the inside out. This is how jealousy transforms into presence, by realizing that the only life you are ever meant to live is your own. We often label the world in absolutes, calling things good or bad with a certainty that betrays their true nature. A third habit invites you into a more nuanced and ultimately peaceful relationship with everything you see, the cultivation of an attitude of indifference towards externals. The Stoics had a precise term for this, adiaphora. It translates not to apathy, but to things that are neither good nor bad in themselves. These are the preferred and dispreferred indifference. This is a radical recalibration of value. Think of it like the weather. Is sunshine inherently good? For a picnic, yes. For a farmer's drought-stricken crops, it is a disaster. Is rain inherently bad? Not if you are trying to grow a garden. The weather is simply a condition, an indifferent. Its value depends entirely on the context and your judgment of it. This is how the Stoic views wealth, social status, fame, and all the common triggers of jealousy. They are like different types of weather, neither good nor bad in their essence. A large bank account is a preferred indifferent. It is generally more comfortable to have it than not. public recognition is a preferred indifferent. It can open doors. But they are not the source of your goodness or your peace. A virtuous person with little money is no less fulfilled than a virtuous person with much. In fact, the pursuit of these preferred indifferents as if they were the ultimate good is what corrupts character and fuels the very envy we are trying to dissolve. The training begins with a simple act of relabeling. When you see someone with a beautiful home and feel that old pang, you do not call it a good thing. You call it a preferred indifferent. You might prefer it, but your core happiness and self-worth remain untouched by its presence or absence. When you face a difficulty, a public embarrassment, or a financial setback, you practice calling it a dispreferred indifferent. You would rather not have it, certainly, but it cannot damage your character unless you permit it to. It is merely a storm passing through. This mental habit systematically neutralizes the emotional charge these externals hold over you. That influencer with the perfect lifestyle is simply experiencing a long stretch of preferred weather. You are under no obligation to be jealous of their sunny day because you know storms will come for them too, just as they do for everyone. Your focus shifts from craving their specific conditions to building a sturdy inner shelter that can withstand any climate. Your worth is not measured by the externals you collect, but by the integrity with which you navigate whatever life brings your way. This is the profound freedom of adiaphora. You get to stop chasing the forecast and start appreciating the simple fact of being alive, right here, right now, in whatever weather you find yourself. Your own comfortable life can become a subtle cage. We surround ourselves with warmth, convenience, and constant stimulation, building a fortress against any form of discomfort. Yet this very comfort makes the spectacle of someone else's luxury feel like a personal indictment. The fourth Stoic habit smashes this illusion not through theory, but through deliberate action, the practice of voluntary discomfort. This is where philosophy becomes a physical reality. You choose with clear intention to temporarily give up a comfort you take for granted. You take a cold shower instead of a hot one. You eat a simple meal of plain rice and vegetables instead of an elaborate takeout order. You turn off all your digital devices for an entire evening and sit with the silence. In that moment of deliberate choice, something profound happens. You prove to your own nervous system that you are not a slave to your conditions. The initial shock of the cold water is not a catastrophe, it is a sensation. The quiet of the room is not loneliness, it is space. The plain food is not a punishment, it is nourishment. With each small act of voluntary discomfort, you are building a deeper kind of confidence, a resilience that whispers a crucial truth: you are okay, even when you are not perfectly comfortable. This directly attacks the root of jealousy. When you see someone enjoying a luxury you cannot afford, your mind no longer screams that you need it to be happy. You have recent evidence written in the chill of your own skin and the calm of your own mind that your well-being is an internal state, not an external acquisition. You have faced a minor hardship by choice and emerged not diminished but stronger. That expensive car is just a preferred indifferent, a comfortable shell on wheels. Your ability to find peace without it is a genuine good, a power that no one can ever take from you. This practice trains you to desire less, not by depriving yourself, but by discovering the profound freedom that exists on the other side of a simple, self-imposed challenge. You stop looking at what others have and start appreciating the incredible capacity you already possess to meet life on its own terms. The house you covet will one day crumble, and the face you admire in a photograph will one day be a memory. This is not a morbid thought, but a liberating one. The fifth Stoic habit is to remember your own mortality, a practice known as Memento Mori. It is the ultimate tool for dissolving the illusion of permanence that jealousy feeds upon. When you are caught in the trap of comparing your life to another's, you are acting as if both of your stories are frozen in time, as if their highlight reel is their entire existence and your current chapter is your final one. Remembering that everything ends, including you and the person you envy, shatters this false permanence. That CEO with the corner office, the social media star with millions of followers, the friend with the seemingly perfect family, all are on the exact same journey as you, a journey with a definite and unavoidable conclusion. This realization does not breed despair, but a profound and urgent clarity. It pulls your attention away from the shadow play of other people's lives and plants it firmly in the raw, fleeting reality of your own. Your time is the one truly non-renewable resource you possess. To spend it burning with envy over how someone else is spending theirs is the deepest form of self-betrayal. Memento Mori asks a simple, piercing question. Is this resentment how you wish to use your precious and limited moments? The energy you pour into jealousy is energy stolen from creating, loving, and simply being present in the life that is uniquely yours. Think of a sunset. Its devastating beauty is amplified precisely because you know it will last for only a few minutes. You do not look at a brilliant orange sky and think, I wish my sunset had more purple than my neighbor's. You simply stand in awe, drinking in the transient glory. This is the shift Memento Mori creates. The person you envy becomes like that sunset, a temporary phenomenon to be observed, perhaps appreciated, but never used as a measure of your own light. Your own life, with all its mundane tasks and quiet struggles, is also a sunset, a unique and vanishing display. This habit transforms jealousy from a poison into a poignant reminder to cherish what you have while you still have it. The sound of a loved one's laughter, the satisfaction of a task completed, the simple warmth of the sun on your skin, these are the real treasures, made infinitely more valuable by the fact that they are not forever. Your focus shifts from what you lack to the staggering abundance that is already passing through your hands. A life spent chasing another person's definition of success is a life lived in a borrowed skin. The sixth habit calls you to shed that ill-fitting costume and do the most courageous work of all, defining your own virtuous path. The Stoics identified 4 cardinal virtues as the only true goods: wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance. These are not abstract ideals for philosophers to debate. They are the raw materials for building a life of unshakable integrity. A life where jealousy cannot find a foothold because you are no longer playing by anyone else's rules. Wisdom is your ability to see the world clearly, to discern what is within your control and what is not, to understand that another's gain is not your loss. Courage is the strength to live according to that wisdom, to act on your principles even when it is difficult or unpopular. Justice is your duty to treat other people with fairness and kindness, which includes celebrating their successes rather than resenting them. And temperance is the self-command to exercise moderation in all things, to desire nothing to excess. When you make these virtues your sole measure of a successful day, the entire game changes. You stop asking, did I get the promotion, and start asking, did I work with diligence and integrity? You cease worrying, are they more popular than me, and instead reflect, did I act with kindness and fairness in my interactions? Your personal scorecard is no longer filled with external validations, but with private, meaningful checks on your own character. How do you begin this in practice? Sit down with a blank page and define what a good life truly means to you, stripped of all societal noise. Does a good life mean being a reliable friend? A creative problem solver at work, a person who remains calm under pressure. These are the virtues you can cultivate starting this very moment, regardless of what anyone else is doing. The billionaire cannot be more courageous than you in this moment, because courage is measured by the fear you face, not the size of your bank account. The social media influencer cannot be more temperate than you, because temperance is shown in your command over your own desires. By crafting your life around this internal compass, you make the journeys of others beautifully, peacefully irrelevant. Their path is theirs, and yours is now a sacred, focused pursuit of becoming the best version of yourself. a project so consuming and rewarding that there is simply no mental space left for the hollow drama of envy. Jealousy is a fire that can burn your house down or warm your hands. The choice is yours. The seventh Stoic habit teaches you how to redirect that raw, uncomfortable energy from destructive comparison into a powerful engine for your own growth. This is the art of transforming envy into emulation. When you feel that familiar heat rise in your chest, do not turn away from it in shame. Lean in and ask a single, revolutionary question. What specific quality in this person am I actually admiring? Your envy is a distorted signal pointing toward a value you hold dear. Your task is to decode it. That colleague who received a promotion might stir a bitter feeling. Instead of stewing in resentment, analyze the situation with the cool detachment of a strategist. What is the visible cause of their success? Is it their relentless work ethic, a virtue of diligence? Is it their exceptional communication skills, a form of practical wisdom? Is it their ability to remain calm under pressure, a display of courage and temperance? Pinpoint the exact virtue or skill you admire. You are not admiring the promotion itself, the external reward. You are admiring the character that likely earned it. This reframes the entire situation. The person is no longer a rival who has something you lack, but a living example of a trait you wish to develop. They have become an unwitting mentor. The final, crucial step is to shift your focus entirely from their life to your own. Now that you have identified the admirable quality, create a practical and immediate plan to cultivate it within yourself. If you envy their discipline, your plan is not to get their job, but to design your own morning routine and stick to it for the next 30 days. If you envy their social ease, your plan is to practice having one genuine conversation each day, focusing entirely on listening. You are taking the energy that was once wasted on passive longing and channeling it into active, self-directed building. This habit severs the link between another's success and your own sense of inadequacy. Their achievement becomes a source of useful data for your own project of self-improvement, a benchmark not for resentment but for inspiration. You stop seeing their life as a finished product to be coveted and start seeing your own as a workshop where you are the craftsman. The fire of envy no longer consumes you, it forges you. That fire of emulation can still leave you with a mind buzzing with restless thoughts. You have learned to channel the energy, but the initial spark, the sharp sting of jealousy itself, still feels automatic and overwhelming. The eighth habit offers a way to meet that spark not as a command to act, but as a passing weather pattern in your own mind, the practice of mindful observation. This is where Stoicism meets the present moment in its most raw form. When the green-eyed monster whispers that you are not enough, your first instinct is usually to fight it, to suppress the feeling out of shame, or to immediately launch into a mental argument. This habit asks you to do the exact opposite, to simply sit and observe the entire event with detached curiosity. Notice the physical sensations first. Where in your body does the jealousy live? A tightness in your chest, a clenching in your jaw, a heat rising in your face. Acknowledge these sensations without trying to change them. They are just data, your body's primitive response to a perceived threat. Now turn your attention to the thoughts themselves. They will likely be rapid and repetitive, a frantic internal monologue about unfairness and lack. Instead of getting swept away by this story, imagine each thought as a cloud drifting across the vast sky of your awareness. You are not the cloud, you are the sky. A thought appears, a dark, heavy one that says, "Their success makes my efforts look pathetic." You observe it, you label it jealous thought, and you let it continue on its path without grabbing onto it. Another cloud forms, "They are so lucky and I am not." You note it, another jealous thought, and you allow it to pass. This creates a crucial and liberating space, a gap between the trigger and your reaction. In that space, you reclaim your sovereignty. You are no longer a puppet jerked around by every envious impulse. You are the observer, the conscious presence that gets to choose what happens next. You might decide to use the emulation habit and channel the energy, or you might simply acknowledge the feeling and return your focus to your breath and the simple reality of the room around you. The power is not in banishing the thought, but in realizing it does not have to dictate your state of being. You can feel the squeeze of envy in your stomach and still choose to close your laptop and go for a walk. You can hear the voice of comparison in your head and still choose to compliment a colleague on their achievement. The thought and the sensation lose their authority over you. They become background noise, not the central plot of your day. This mindful observation is the ultimate act of presence, pulling you out of the painful fantasy of what you lack and anchoring you in the tangible, manageable reality of this single moment where you are and have always been fundamentally okay. Your own thoughts can feel like a tangled forest where jealousy hides in the shadows. The ninth habit gives you a map and a lantern to navigate that inner wilderness, the simple but profound practice of keeping a Stoic journal. This is not a diary for recording daily events, but a private workshop for examining your mind, inspired by the Emperor Marcus Aurelius himself, who wrote his own meditations not for publication, but as a personal guide to reason. Your journal becomes that same guide, a dedicated space to catch the moment jealousy strikes and dissect it with calm precision. The method is straightforward but transformative. At the end of each day, you take just 5 to 10 minutes with a notebook. You do not write a long narrative, but instead you use a series of targeted prompts. The first prompt is, what triggered a feeling of envy or comparison in me today? Be brutally honest. Was it a social media post, a conversation with a successful colleague, seeing a neighbor's new car? Write it down without judgment. The second prompt is the core of the work. What underlying judgment did I make about this situation? This is where you excavate the faulty belief. Your judgment was likely something like, their success means I am a failure, or having that object is necessary for a good life. You write that judgment down and then you hold it up to the light of Stoic principles. You ask the third prompt, is this thing they have truly within my control? The answer, as you know, is always no. Then you ask, is this thing a genuine good, or is it merely a preferred indifferent? You know it is an indifferent. Finally, you reframe the entire event with a fourth prompt. What is a more rational and virtuous way to view this situation? Here you rewrite the script. Instead of, their success means I am a failure, you write, their success is the result of their own efforts and luck, and it has no bearing on my capacity to act with virtue today. My worth is determined by my own character, not their achievements. This daily ritual of writing, questioning, and reframing does something remarkable. It builds a mental muscle of self-awareness that eventually operates in real time. Over weeks and months, you will see patterns emerge in your journal. You will identify your specific envy triggers and watch as your reframing becomes quicker, more automatic, and more deeply felt. The journal becomes a record of your growth, a tangible proof that you are no longer a passive victim of your emotions, but an active architect of your perceptions. You are quite literally writing your way out of jealousy and into a more present, peaceful, and powerful state of mind. There is a deep and quiet power in choosing to remain anonymous. Habit 10 invites you into this radical practice, the deliberate self-denial of praise and recognition. We are conditioned from a young age to seek external validation, to collect likes, compliments, and public accolades as proof of our worth. Yet this very hunger is the fertile ground in which jealousy grows, for if your value comes from being seen as successful, then anyone else's success automatically feels like a threat to your status. The Stoic antidote is to systematically wean yourself off this need by voluntarily refusing the reward. The next time you complete a significant project and receive genuine, heartfelt praise, experiment with deflecting it. You might simply say, I was just doing my job, or the team really pulled together on this one. Do not do this with false humility, but with the calm understanding that the work itself was the reward and the praise is merely an external echo. The true test comes when you perform a genuine act of kindness and have the opportunity to take full credit for it, but you choose to let it go unnoticed. You help a colleague solve a difficult problem and never mention it to your boss. You anonymously cover a small expense for a friend in need. In that moment of silent action, you are giving yourself a far greater gift than any public recognition could provide, the unshakable knowledge that your integrity is its own compass. You are proving to your own soul that your worth is not a commodity to be traded in the social marketplace, but a private, internal truth. This habit directly attacks the root of social comparison. When you no longer need the world to applaud your efforts, you become immune to the spectacle of others receiving applause. Their moment in the spotlight ceases to be a trigger for your envy because you have consciously stepped out of that particular game. Your sense of self is no longer tied to the fickle opinions of other people, and you are freed to focus on the substance of your work and the quality of your character, which are the only things that ever truly belong to you in the first place. From the silent sanctuary of your own anonymous virtue, your awareness expands beyond the personal, beyond the social, into the cosmic. Your envy for a neighbor's car or a rival's promotion exists within a very small room, a room with walls built from your own immediate perceptions. The 11th habit invites you to step outside that room entirely, to practice the view from above. This is a meditation that shifts your perspective from the microscopic to the telescopic, revealing the breathtaking scale of what is truly happening. Begin by closing your eyes and bringing your attention to your breath. Then, in your mind's eye, begin to pull back. See the room you are in from the ceiling, then the building from above, then your entire neighborhood laid out like a map. Continue to pull back, seeing your city as a patch of light, your country as a shape on a globe, and the earth itself as a magnificent blue and white marble hanging in the profound blackness of space. From here, all of human life is contained on that single, fragile sphere. The continents are mere textures, the oceans vast pools of blue. From this vantage point, can you even locate the person you envy? Can you see their house, their office, their social media profile? All of it has vanished into the beautiful, silent whole. Your jealousy, that intense and burning feeling, is now a tiny spark in the immensity of the cosmos, a spark that flickers for a mere instant against the backdrop of geological time. This exercise is not meant to make your life feel meaningless, but to make your conflicts feel manageable. The rivalry that felt all-consuming from the ground is now invisible from orbit. The object of your desire is a microscopic speck on a speck. This cosmic perspective cultivates a profound sense of shared humanity. Everyone you have ever known or envied is right there with you on that same small planet, riding through the void on the same fragile vessel. We are all, as the Stoics said, fellow passengers on this journey. The person you resent is not an opponent in a separate game, but a companion facing the same fundamental human condition, the same search for meaning, the same inevitable fate. Your jealousy begins to feel not just pointless but lonely, a failure to recognize the unity of your shared voyage. When you return your awareness to your body and open your eyes, the world may look the same, but your relationship to it has been permanently altered. The sting has been diluted by the sheer scale of the context. Your focus is no longer narrowly fixed on what you lack, but expanded to include the miracle of your own presence here at all, a conscious witness to this fleeting, magnificent display. The grandest plans we make are whispered promises to a universe that does not always listen. You pour your soul into a project, aiming for a specific promotion, a launch date, a perfect outcome, only to watch someone else achieve it with apparent ease. The sting is not just from failure, but from the betrayal of your own expectation. This is where the 12th Stoic habit offers a profound form of psychological armor, the practice of acting with a reserve clause. In simple terms, this means you commit to your actions with total effort, but you mentally tag every intention with a quiet, internal phrase, fate permitting. You do not say, "I will get that promotion." You say, I will work with excellence and integrity toward that promotion, fate permitting. You do not say, my business will be a huge success. You say, I will do my absolute best to build a virtuous and useful enterprise, fate permitting. This is not a recipe for half-hearted effort. On the contrary, it frees you to give your absolute all, because the reserve clause detaches your self-worth from the final result, an outcome that is only partly in your control. Your value is placed squarely on the quality of your attempt, on the virtue of your striving, which is entirely your own domain. When you operate this way, the success of others loses its power to wound you. If a colleague gets the promotion you wanted, your internal narrative is not, I failed, but I acted with diligence and courage, and the final outcome was not mine to command. Their success becomes a separate event, a roll of fortune's dice that has no bearing on the honor of your own effort. You can look at their achievement and feel genuine curiosity, or even appreciation, rather than the corrosive burn of envy, because you never attached your entire identity to that single external prize. Your peace was never riding on it. Consider an athlete training for the Olympics. They cannot control who else shows up, the judge's subjective scoring, or a sudden injury on the day of the event. The athlete who uses the reserve clause trains with relentless discipline day after day, focusing only on the excellence of their own performance, fate permitting. If they win, they are grateful. If they lose, they have no regret, because their self-respect was built in the quiet dawn workouts, not on the podium. Their worth was secured by the effort, not the medal. This habit trains you to fall in love with the process itself, with the gritty, tangible work of showing up, which is the only part of life you can ever truly own. The outcome is merely a guest that may or may not arrive, and you learn to be just as content in your own company, having already proven your value through the simple, steadfast act of trying. Jealousy is a flare sent up from the depths of your own values. When it burns against the night sky of your mind, it illuminates something you care about deeply, something you believe is missing from your life. The 13th habit teaches you to stop cursing the light and start reading the map it provides, by actively finding the good in every situation, especially the uncomfortable grip of envy. This is not about slapping a fake smile on a painful feeling, but about engaging in a sincere search for the hidden lesson. Every pang of jealousy, without exception, carries a message about a desire you hold or a value you cherish. Your task is to become a detective of your own discontent. When you see a friend thriving in their career and feel that bitter twist, pause and interrogate the feeling. What is the specific value this jealousy is pointing toward? Is it a desire for mastery, for creative expression, for financial independence? Your envy is not proof of your inadequacy. It is a loud, if clumsy, announcement of what you truly want for yourself. Once you identify the value, the entire dynamic shifts. The person you envied is no longer a rival, but a living demonstration that the thing you want is possible. They have become evidence that your aspiration is not a fantasy. Now you can address that desire constructively, not with the frantic energy of lack, but with the focused intent of a craftsman. If your jealousy revealed a deep-seated wish for more creativity, your response is not to copy their art, but to block out 1 hour this very week to practice your own. If it highlighted a value for community, your action is to reach out and strengthen one connection today. The jealousy has done its job, it delivered the message. You can thank it for its service and let it go, because its energy has been transformed into a clear, actionable step on your own path. The situation that triggered you is no longer a source of pain, but a valuable teacher that helped you uncover a piece of your own puzzle, a clue to what a truly present and fulfilling life would actually look like for you. Your mind is a garden, and you decide what seeds are allowed to take root. After learning to observe and reframe your jealous thoughts, the 14th habit addresses the environment where those thoughts most easily grow by consciously limiting your exposure to triggers. This is not about running away from the world, but about practicing a wise and disciplined stewardship of your own attention. A Stoic does not foolishly expose their peace to constant assault, believing they must be strong enough to withstand any poison. That is not courage, it is arrogance. True strength lies in the wisdom to recognize what weakens your resolve and to take practical, preemptive action. Your first line of defense is often your phone. Scrolling through social media can feel like walking through a gallery of curated lives designed to make your own feel incomplete. The Stoic response is not to endure this until you feel miserable, but to curate that gallery with ruthless intention. Go through the accounts you follow and ask a simple question. Does this content inspire me toward my own virtues, or does it primarily make me feel a sense of lack? If it is the latter, mute or unfollow without a second thought. This is not an act of weakness, but a profound declaration of self-respect. You are saying, my inner peace is more valuable than my fear of missing out. The same principle applies to your conversations. You have a choice in the topics you engage with. If a certain friend's conversation always spirals into bragging about possessions or achievements, deliberately steering the dialogue toward more meaningful ground is a form of environmental control. You might ask about a challenge they are facing or share something you are learning rather than acquiring. This habit extends to the media you consume, the news you read, even the places you frequent. Every input is a potential seed. Discipline over your inputs is not a restriction on your freedom, it is the very practice of it. You are taking direct command over the fuel for your thoughts, ensuring you are feeding your mind with what builds resilience and presence, rather than what feeds the hollow hunger of comparison. By cleaning the windows of your perception, you allow the clear light of your own life to shine through, unobscured by the distracting shadows others cast. Your envy is not a mistake in the script of your life, but a crucial line written for your character's development. The 15th habit invites you into the most radical embrace of all, the practice of Amor Fati, a love of one's fate. This powerful idea, championed by the philosopher Nietzsche and deeply resonant with Stoic principles, asks you to not merely tolerate or accept what happens, but to love it, to see every event, every feeling, even the sharp sting of jealousy, as a necessary and welcome part of the unique path that is your life. This is the ultimate reframe. You are not just putting up with your envy, you are learning to appreciate its role. When jealousy arises, instead of fighting it, you can say to yourself, this too is for my benefit. This feeling is here to show me what I value. This discomfort is the friction that will polish my character. You are learning to love the entire journey, the smooth paths and the rocky climbs alike, because you trust that both are leading you toward wisdom. Think of a master blacksmith. He does not curse the fire for being hot or the hammer for being heavy. He loves them precisely for their intensity and their weight, because he knows they are the essential forces that allow him to shape raw metal into a strong and useful blade. Your feelings of jealousy are that fire and that hammer. They are the intense heat that forges your self-awareness and the heavy blows that discipline your desires, shaping you into a person of greater resilience and purpose. To practice Amor Fati is to look at the person who triggers your envy and sincerely, in your heart, thank them for their role in your growth. They have, however unintentionally, provided you with a mirror, revealing a hidden ambition or an unexamined value. Your fate included this moment of discomfort not to punish you, but to equip you. It handed you the precise raw material, the difficult emotion you needed to build a stronger, more present version of yourself. Loving your fate means trusting that your life, with all its comparisons and aches, is perfectly designed for your evolution. The energy you once spent resenting this design can now be channeled into marveling at its intricate and often painful beauty. The person you envy is just as afraid as you are. Behind the polished success and the curated smile lies a human being who knows the ache of disappointment and the chill of self-doubt. Habit 16 grounds you in this undeniable truth, reflecting on the common humanity that unites us all. jealousy thrives on a fundamental illusion that the person you resent is living in a different, easier reality. It builds a wall, an us versus them division where you are on the outside looking in, a spectator to their seemingly perfect life. This habit takes a sledgehammer to that wall. The practice is to consciously remember that every single person, without exception, carries their own private burdens. The CEO you envy for their power also feels the crushing weight of responsibility and the loneliness of command. The artist you admire for their talent battles the fear that their next work will be a failure, that their inspiration has run dry. The friend with the perfect family worries about their children's future and struggles to keep a marriage strong. They all experience loss, grief, insecurity, and the quiet, universal fear of not being enough. This is not a guess, it is a fact of the human condition. When you actively bring this to mind, something shifts. The target of your jealousy is demoted from an untouchable icon to a fellow traveler. You are no longer looking up at a statue on a pedestal, but across at another person walking the same difficult road, just carrying a different set of weights. Your focus moves from the external trappings of their life to the internal reality you both share. That sharp, bitter feeling of envy begins to soften at the edges, transforming into something far more powerful, a genuine sense of compassion. You realize that wishing for their life means wishing for their specific set of struggles and fears, a package deal you would likely never consciously choose. This reflection connects you to others instead of separating you. Their success stops being a personal affront and becomes simply another event in the vast, interconnected web of human experience. You can look at their achievement and instead of feeling smaller, feel a part of a shared story where everyone is trying their best, everyone is fighting a hard battle, and everyone, in the end, is just as human as you are. Your deepest work is measured not by its applause but by its integrity. Habit 17 anchors you in this truth, focusing relentlessly on the process rather than the prize. Our world is obsessed with results, with the final score, the quarterly earnings, the number in a bank account. We are taught to worship the outcome, that distant finish line, and in doing so, we outsource our happiness to a future we cannot control. The Stoic stands in direct opposition to this. Your mission is not to win the race, but to run with every ounce of strength and honor you possess. Your value is determined by the quality of your stride, the consistency of your breath, the courage in your heart, not by your position when you cross the line. When you dedicate yourself fully to your own work and character, a profound shift occurs. The successes of others begin to feel like news from a foreign country, interesting perhaps, but utterly irrelevant to the domestic affairs of your own soul. You are no longer a spectator in their story because you are the fully engaged author of your own. Think of a master carpenter. He does not fall in love with the final sale price of the cabinet he is building. He falls in love with the scent of the wood, the smooth glide of the plane, the perfect alignment of a dovetail joint. His satisfaction is claimed in the doing, in the daily application of his skill. If someone else's cabinet sells for more at the market, he might note it with curiosity, but it does not devalue the hours he spent in his workshop, the quiet pride he took in his own hands' work. His self-worth is built into the very grain of the wood he shapes. This is how you disarm jealousy. You become so consumed by the excellence of your own efforts, by the process of becoming a better friend, a more diligent worker, a kinder person, that you simply have no attention left to monitor anyone else's harvest. You are too busy tending your own garden, feeling the soil under your fingers, and celebrating each small green shoot that breaks the surface. The final yield is in the hands of nature, but the tending, that sacred daily process, is entirely and wonderfully yours. A jealous thought feels like a sudden command from reality itself. It arrives fully formed, urgent and undeniable, telling you that their success is your failure. The 18th habit gives you the authority to question that command, to look the messenger in the eye and demand its credentials. This is the Stoic discipline of assent, a powerful mental pause between the initial impression and your full-blown emotional endorsement. When the image of a rival's triumph flashes in your mind and the familiar heat of envy begins to rise, you insert a single, deliberate moment of space. In that space, you do not fight the feeling, you interrogate the underlying judgment that gives it power. You ask with the calm of a judge reviewing evidence, is this person's success truly an evil for me? Your initial, automatic impression screams yes, but your reason, when given a chance to speak, offers a more nuanced testimony. Their gain is not your loss. Their achievement does not steal from your own potential. In the vast, non-competitive realm of character and virtue, their victory has no bearing on your capacity for courage, wisdom, or integrity today. The second question cuts even deeper. Is my own worth somehow diminished by their good fortune? This is the core irrationality that jealousy depends on, the flawed logic that another's light can extinguish your own. Your worth is not a finite resource to be divided and compared. It is an internal quality built action by action, moment by moment, through your choices alone. By refusing to automatically assent to the jealous impression, you strip it of its authority. You see it for what it is, not a truth, but a suggestion, a primitive interpretation of events that you are under no obligation to accept. You might feel the sting, but you no longer have to build a whole story of resentment around it. The thought loses its grip, and you are left standing in the quiet clarity of your own sovereignty, free to redirect your attention back to the only project that ever mattered, your own. That endless desire for more is a fire stoked by comparison, a fire that can never be quenched by adding more fuel. Habit 19 offers you the water to douse the flames for good by cultivating a deep and deliberate contentment with enough. The Stoics were not ascetics who shunned all worldly goods, but they were masters of defining the precise point where acquisition ends and burden begins. This is the ideal of sufficiency. Your first task is to sit down in a quiet moment and define, in clear and simple terms, what enough actually means for you. Enough is not a number dictated by society or your neighbors. It is a personal threshold of comfort and capability. What level of income truly covers your needs and allows for a modest measure of security and generosity? What amount of social recognition is sufficient to feel respected in your community without needing to be the center of attention? How many possessions serve a genuine purpose in your life before they become clutter that demands your time and energy to manage? Defining enough is an act of reclaiming your sovereignty from a culture that profits from your endless wanting. Once you have drawn that line, the daily practice begins, the conscious appreciation of the sufficiency you already possess. This is an active ritual, not a passive state. It looks like standing in your kitchen and feeling a genuine gratitude for the food in your pantry that nourishes you, instead of dreaming of a celebrity chef's kitchen. It is the quiet satisfaction of paying your bills with the income from work that aligns with your values without mentally spending a future lottery win. It is the deep comfort of a few trusted friendships that provide real support without envying the sprawling social networks of others. Each time you acknowledge and enjoy the sufficiency you have, you are strengthening a neural pathway of contentment. You are teaching your brain that the goal is not to have everything, but to have exactly what you need to live well and virtuously. The person with 1,000 friends is not necessarily happier than the person with 10 true ones. The individual with a $10 million bank account faces anxieties the person with a modest savings may never know. Enough is the sweet spot where your possessions and status serve your life, rather than your life being spent in service to them. By choosing to be content within your own defined boundaries, you achieve a freedom that no amount of excess can ever provide, the freedom to stop chasing and start living fully and gratefully in the abundant reality of your present moment. That sharp sting of envy is not a roadblock on your path, it is the path itself. Habit 20 invites you into the most empowering perspective shift yet, seeing every obstacle, including jealousy, as the very raw material for your growth. The ancient Stoics had a powerful phrase for this: the obstacle is the way. This is not a motivational slogan, but a practical operating principle for the mind. When jealousy arises, it is not an interruption of your peace, it is an invitation to practice it. Your initial reaction might be to lash out, to withdraw, or to spiral into self-pity. This is the moment of choice. That pang of envy is your training ground, a sudden, unplanned drill in the gym of your character. What virtue will you exercise here? Wisdom is your first rep, the clear-eyed understanding that this feeling is a signal about your values, not a verdict on your worth. Courage is the next, the strength to sit with the discomfort without being controlled by it, to refrain from a bitter comment or a passive-aggressive post. And self-control is the final, steadying breath, the command over your impulses that allows you to channel that raw energy into emulation or simply let it pass. You are no longer a victim of your emotions, but an athlete using their resistance to get stronger. Think of a blacksmith presented with a piece of cold, hard iron. He does not complain that the metal is difficult. He sees its resistance as the essential quality that will allow him to forge a durable blade. The fire and the hammer are not his enemies, they are his partners in creation. Your jealousy is that cold, hard iron. It is heavy and uncomfortable to hold, but it contains within it the potential for a stronger will and a more resilient spirit. The next time you feel that familiar twist in your gut, you can smile inwardly and recognize the opportunity. Here is my training for today. This feeling is my chance to practice wisdom by questioning my judgments, to demonstrate courage by choosing a generous thought, and to enact self-control by focusing on my own work. The obstacle, this very emotion, has become the way forward, transforming what was once a source of pain into the fuel for your unwavering presence. A genuine compliment can feel like a small act of treason against your own ego. That instinct to withhold praise, to secretly diminish another's achievement, is the very lifeblood of jealousy. The 21st habit cuts off that supply at its source by commanding a counterintuitive action. Practice generosity and celebrate the successes of others. This is not about performing fake enthusiasm or suppressing your true feelings. It is a deliberate exercise in rewiring your brain's most primitive associations. When you see someone thrive and your first impulse is a silent groan, you consciously choose the opposite path. You walk over to your colleague and offer a specific, heartfelt congratulations on their promotion. You leave a generous comment on a rival's successful project post. You buy a small gift for a friend who just achieved a goal you secretly covet. In that moment of active generosity, you are sending a powerful new message to your own nervous system. You are teaching it that another person's good fortune is not a threat to your own, but an occasion for connection and shared humanity. The brain begins to associate these moments of others' success with the positive feedback of social bonding and the warm feeling of your own magnanimity, rather than the cold dread of competition. The old neural pathway of jealousy, which screams that their gain is your loss, is gradually eroded from disuse. A new pathway is forged, one that quietly observes, their victory does not diminish me, and my celebration of it actually makes me stronger. This practice transforms the social landscape from a battlefield into a community. The person you once saw as a rival becomes a fellow traveler whose progress you can now appreciate without reservation. Your generosity with your time, your praise, and your resources becomes a testament to your own inner abundance. You are so secure in your own journey, so focused on your own virtues, that you can afford to be genuinely happy for others. This is the ultimate erosion of jealousy's root system, replacing the bitter soil of comparison with the fertile ground of shared human flourishing. Your own journey holds a quiet wisdom that no one else's can ever offer. The 22nd habit asks you to regularly pause and look back, not with regret, but with a Stoic's appreciation for the inner citadel you have been steadily building all along. This is the practice of reminding yourself of your own progress. We are so often fixated on the external finish line, the next achievement, the next possession that someone else already has, that we forget to acknowledge the ground we have already covered. Our own past becomes a blur while another's present shines with impossible clarity. The Stoic antidote is to consciously turn your gaze inward, to take stock of the person you are compared to the person you are now. This is not about tallying material acquisitions, but about charting the evolution of your character. Think back to a challenge you faced 1 year ago, a fear that once seemed insurmountable, a flaw in your temperament that you recognized and decided to work on. Perhaps you are quicker to anger, more easily discouraged by setbacks, or more dependent on external validation. Now, with honest reflection, can you see even a small shift? A situation that would have once triggered a jealous spiral now only causes a minor ripple before you apply your Stoic tools. That is progress. A criticism that would have devastated you is now met with a calmer mind, open to finding the kernel of truth within it. That is your inner citadel growing stronger. Every time you chose to practice negative visualization instead of succumbing to envy, every time you channeled that energy into emulation, every time you observed a jealous thought without letting it steer your actions, you added another stone to your fortress. Your progress is measured in those subtle, internal victories that no one else may ever see. The person you envy is a moving target, their life a constantly shifting image you can never truly capture. But your own growth, your own expanding capacity for peace and virtue, is a territory you can always return to and survey with quiet pride. By regularly reminding yourself of how far you have come, you anchor your sense of worth in the one story that truly belongs to you, a narrative of resilience that makes the highlight reels of others feel beautifully, peacefully irrelevant. The work in front of you is not an interruption of your life, it is the very substance of it. The 23rd Stoic habit is to embrace the present task with your full and undivided attention. A practice Marcus Aurelius called doing what is in front of you with precise and genuine seriousness. This is the ultimate anchor in the now, a state of immersion so complete it leaves no room in your mind for the phantom lives of others. Jealousy is a parasite that feeds on mental idleness, on the moments when your focus drifts from your own hands and lands on the distant, curated achievements of someone else. The cure is to starve it of that attention by pouring all of your consciousness into the single, tangible thing you are doing at this very moment. That could be washing a dish, writing an email, or listening to a friend. The scale of the task is irrelevant, the quality of your focus is everything. When you are fully engaged, your mind does not have the capacity to wander off and construct painful comparisons. You are simply here, your breath synchronized with your movements, your awareness contained within the boundaries of the action itself. This is presence in its purest form. It is the quiet hum of your computer, the weight of the mug in your hand, the specific words you are choosing to articulate a thought. In this state, the noisy theater of other people's accomplishments fades to a silent backdrop. You are no longer a spectator in their story because you are the lead actor in your own, fully committed to the scene you are currently playing. The person you envied for their vacation is forgotten as you feel the warm water on your skin and see the plate become clean under your care. The colleague you resented for their promotion disappears from your thoughts as you lose yourself in the challenge of solving a problem. Your own life, in all its ordinary detail, becomes the main event, not a dress rehearsal for some other, better version you see on a screen. This is how you reclaim your mental real estate, not by fighting jealousy directly, but by becoming so utterly absorbed in your own reality that the ghost of another's simply has no place to live. Their stories prove that this wisdom is not just theory, but a path walked by real people in impossible circumstances. Epictetus was born into the brutal reality of slavery, a condition where he owned nothing, not even his own body. Every external measure of a good life was violently denied to him, yet he cultivated an inner freedom so profound that his teachings would outlive the empire that enslaved him. His life is a masterclass in the dichotomy of control. He had absolutely no power over his external circumstances, but he seized absolute command over his judgments and desires. When you envy someone's social status or possessions, remember Epictetus. He transformed the ultimate lack into the ultimate liberation, showing us that our true chains are not made of iron but of faulty judgment. Then there is Seneca, a man who navigated the opposite extreme, swimming in the treacherous waters of immense power and wealth as an advisor to the Emperor Nero. He possessed every preferred indifferent one could dream of, and yet his letters reveal a man constantly on guard, not against poverty, but against the corruption of his own soul by the very luxury he enjoyed. He did not see his wealth as a mark of his virtue, but as a test of it. His life demonstrates that abundance can be just as dangerous a trap as scarcity, and that the same envious glances he might have received from others were a meaningless distraction from his real work, maintaining his integrity in a palace of vice. Finally, we have Marcus Aurelius, perhaps the most powerful man in the world during his time, the Emperor of Rome. His private journal, never intended for publication, shows a man besieged by the burdens of command, by treacherous senators, by endless war, and by the constant flattery of courtiers. He had every reason to be arrogant, to compare his station to all others and find them wanting. Yet his writings are a relentless conversation with himself, a daily rehearsal of humility, duty, and the fleeting nature of all things. He reminds himself that the applause of the crowd is just a noise, and that the purple robe he wears is just sheep's hair dyed with the blood of a shellfish. He constantly practiced seeing the humanity in those he ruled and those he fought, dissolving the us versus, them thinking that jealousy thrives on. To study these lives is to arm yourself with living proof. When envy whispers that you need a certain thing to be happy, Epictetus stands as a monument to the power of a mind that needs nothing. When you fear that comfort has made you soft, Seneca serves as a guide for using privilege without being poisoned by it. And when you feel insignificant compared to those in power, Marcus Aurelius reveals that even an emperor's primary battlefield was the 6 inches between his own ears. They are not untouchable saints, but fellow travelers who left maps. Their struggles with power, poverty, and perception make our own moments of jealousy feel manageable, part of a human struggle that is both ancient and surmountable. Your principles are not a monument to be visited once, but a well to be returned to daily. This final habit is the keystone that holds all the others in place, the regular and deliberate revisiting of your core Stoic philosophy. Without this conscious repetition, even the most powerful insights can fade, leaving you vulnerable to the old, automatic currents of envy when a new trigger appears. The goal is to make your Stoic responses so familiar that they become your default setting, the path of least resistance for your mind. This is not about memorizing quotes, but about reacquainting yourself with a way of seeing, like a musician practicing scales to keep their fingers nimble for the performance. The practice itself is simple in structure but profound in effect. You set aside a small, sacred space of time each day, perhaps first thing in the morning or last thing at night. In that quiet space, you do not seek new information, but you deepen your relationship with the wisdom you already possess. You might slowly reread a single passage from Marcus Aurelius or Epictetus, not as a scholar but as a friend seeking counsel. You could open your own Stoic journal from weeks or months past and review your entries. Look at the situations that once triggered a storm of jealousy in you and observe with quiet satisfaction how your understanding has shifted. See the patterns in your thinking and celebrate the moments where you successfully applied a principle. This daily rehearsal does not demand hours, only consistency. It is the gentle, persistent drip of water that eventually wears away the stone of old habits. You are etching these truths into the very architecture of your brain. When you then encounter a fresh wave of envy during your day, the response is no longer a frantic search for a tool in a cluttered toolbox. The tool is already in your hand. The dichotomy of control arises not as a concept to be recalled, but as an immediate felt sense, a clear line drawn in your mind without effort. The view from above clicks into place, offering instant perspective. The practice of Amor Fati, loving your fate, becomes a genuine embrace of the challenging feeling as part of your training. This regular return to source code is what transforms philosophy from a weekend interest into a living, breathing operating system for your life. It ensures that your hard-won presence is not a temporary state but a permanent residence. You are no longer building your inner citadel. You are simply living within its sturdy, reliable walls, peaceful and present, regardless of what unfolds beyond the gates. This journey began with a quiet ache, a feeling of lack in the shadow of another's light. We saw jealousy not as a flaw to be ashamed of, but as a raw signal from our deepest values, a teacher in painful disguise. These 25 Stoic habits are the tools to decode that signal. They are not a temporary fix, but the blueprints for building an unshakable inner fortress, stone by daily stone. You have learned to disarm envy through negative visualization, to channel its energy into emulation, to anchor yourself in the present task, and to love your fate with all its challenging lessons. This is the ultimate transformation, from a life spent peering over the fence at another's garden to a life fully, gratefully rooted in your own. The fortress is not built in a day, but with one conscious choice at a time. Your call to action is simple yet profound. Look back over these habits and choose just one, only one, to practice with intention today. Will you conduct a mental audit of control the next time jealousy flares? Will you define your own enough, or will you perform a single anonymous act of kindness? The choice itself is the first step back into your own life, into a presence that no comparison can ever shake. We would love to hear which habit resonated most deeply with you. Share your choice in the comments below and let us continue this journey toward presence together.